Is President Trump's aggressive tariff strategy actually weakening America's global position? In a tense hearing, Senator Maria Cantwell warned that the U.S. could be missing the boat, not just with Canada and Mexico, but in the global race to counter China. Instead of strengthening alliances, she says we're picking fights with our closest partners while the rest of the world moves faster without us. Let's break down what just happened.
Chairman, thanks to the witnesses. Thank you for holding this important hearing. I think the three of us represent a view of the world that is very much about trade. And while we appreciate the U.S. market and selling products into the U.S. market, we care a lot about selling products internationally and making sure that we have the opportunities to compete in what is an ever-growing middle class around the world. So I wanted to say I appreciate Mr. Brady, Congressman Brady, your comments to Senator Cornyn that we have the constitutional authority over trade. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us of all of that. And that's the big challenge. Senator Grassley and I are saying we should assert ourselves in this issue. But on this hearing, USMCA, we think it was a very important agreement. Many colleagues on my side of the aisle who don't usually support trade agreements supported trade agreements because it was also about capacity building. Capacity building is like getting a trading partners that follows the rules. And, you know, the committee here has done a lot of work over the years, follow these rules, and it creates an even better trading partner. And so there's still work to be done on that. But I think it's a signature agreement. And now I'm worried that President Trump is doing things to undermine that, like 100% tariffs on Canadian goods, threatening to block the opening of the Detroit-Windsor Bridge, imposing tariffs on steel, aluminum, and automobiles, threatening a 50% tariff on Canadian-made aircraft, and it goes on and on. So Canada, for us, in the state of Washington, is our #2 export market. Mexico is our #5 market. And I look at this and say, we're trying to kind of reposition, obviously, we want a greater, stronger relationship with India, between the United States and India, but we also want, right here, our closest neighbor, to be a stronger competitor to some of the things that China is doing. So do you think that this rhetoric is undermining our ability to get a signature achievement? If you consider USMCA a signature achievement, do you consider that rhetoric a threat to that?
You know, I think the president's a tough negotiator. He's tough in his rhetoric as well. He is all in for America, and he wants to get the best possible deal for the U.S. For USMCA, he starts in a much different position in the standpoint his agreement has delivered on jobs and growth and competitiveness in a serious way for us. And now today, as we've talked about, Canada and Mexico are America's biggest customers, investors, and suppliers. That is a unique partnership. Certainly, there's areas for growth here and improvement in the agreement as well, but he's a businessman. I think he understands how this partnership, his partnership, in this agreement has positioned America from small business to agriculture to the advanced technology to be able to not just grow, but to compete and win against China in the future. So I do believe he sees the value of this agreement. His style has always been aggressive and tough in these agreements, but it shouldn't interfere with these three countries strengthening this, preserving it, and extending it.
I could comment on that rhetoric, but it's the strategy I'm disagreeing with. I am disagreeing with the strategy. The U.S. is 30% of global trade. That means that 70% of it is outside the United States. So that means you have to win those battles. The difference between the last 20 years is everybody's moving a heck of a lot faster. And so the point is, Mr. Navarro this morning in the press saying, quote, the leveraged NAFTA and USMCA to get into our markets in ways essentially is a tariff avoidance at best. Well, wait, I thought he was actually part of this last time. So I can't tell what he's calling on it. So, we're getting into arguments over here with the people that could help us be most leveraged in going after, I'm not sure why we aren't doing a bigger Americas agreement. Why aren't we, if we really want to counter the Chinese, why aren't we passing a United States, South America free trade agreement? All those trade agreements that we did in the Bush administration paid dividends to us now. I think they're collectively the 5th largest trading partner with the U.S. because we grew that market. But Mr. Gottwald, isn't there work to be done on USMCA? So aren't we missing the boat by sitting here arguing with each other instead of resolving the capacity building issues?
There's a lot of work to do. I think a lot of enforcement challenges have been raised on labor and environment, across the board. So I think it's a delicate dance here in this joint review. There's leverage here. We need Congress and administration to lean on Mexico and Canada to fix the issues, and at the same time, preserve the certainty that everybody here is talking about.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Young.
Senator Maria Cantwell is making a broader argument here, and it's not just about India. She's warning that America cannot afford to retreat into a narrow, tariff-heavy strategy while 70% of global trade happens outside the United States. Her point is simple but powerful. If we want to counter China, we can't just punish allies. We need to expand alliances. That includes strengthening the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, deepening ties with India, building broader trade coalitions in South America, moving faster in a rapidly shifting global economy. And here's the real tension. Cantwell argues that threatening 100% tariffs on Canadian goods, steel, aluminum, autos, even aircraft, creates instability. Canada and Mexico aren't just trading partners. They're America's biggest customers. Meanwhile, China continues expanding its influence across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Her concern? While the U.S. argues internally, Beijing is signing deals. Now, Trump allies defend this as negotiation strategy. They say he's tough, aggressive, and business-minded, and that this posture strengthens America's leverage. But Cantwell is challenging the strategy, not the personality. She's asking, are we strengthening USMCA or undermining it with unpredictable rhetoric? Are we building a bigger economic coalition to counter China or isolating ourselves? That's the bigger fight playing out here. Not just tariffs, but what America's role in the global economy should be. Global leadership through alliances or economic nationalism through pressure? That's the dividing line.